that we here highly resolve these dead shall not have died in vain, that the nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation under God
Shall have a new birth of freedom.
That this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom.
The nation shall have a new birth of freedom.
Okay, Amp, let me out.
The president recognized the tremendous loss of life that came from the Holocaust, but I think with respect to, Israel and the Jewish people specifically, there's been no better friend than Donald Trump when it comes to protecting Israel, building a better friendship with Israel. You look at what Prime Minister Netanyahu's talked about. He welcomes this administration. He appreciates the friendship and respect that he has shown to Israel and to the Jewish people. But to suggest otherwise, John, I frankly, I got to be honest. I mean, the president went out of his way to recognize the Holocaust and the suffering that went through it and the people that were affected by it and the loss of life, and to make sure that America never forgets what so many people went through, whether they were Jews or gypsies, gays, disability, priests. And I get it, but at the end of the day, I don't think when you look at the state of Israel or the Jewish people themselves, I think there's been no better friend to Donald Trump, especially after the last 8 years. The tremendous respect that he's shown Israel, the Jewish people, and to suggest anything otherwise is frankly a little disappointing. The statement was written with the help of an individual who's both Jewish and the descendants of Holocaust survivors. To suggest that remembering the Holocaust and acknowledging all of the people, Jewish, gypsies, priests, disabled, gays, and lesbians, it is pathetic that people are picking on a statement. I remember we issued a statement at Christmas time calling Christ the King, and many of the reporters that are in this room and otherwise started wondering whether we're referring to the King as the president-elect. Do you know how offensive that was to Christians? The idea that you're nitpicking a statement that sought to remember this tragic event that occurred and the people who died in it is just ridiculous. I think he acknowledged the suffering that existed and wants to make sure that it's enshrined in the American people's memory so that something like this never, ever happens again. And I think to sit there and suggest that he was trying to single out anything in a people of which he has shown such tremendous respect for and such a willingness in terms of the state of Israel to go out there and show the partnership that needs to exist between us and respect. And when you contrast that, frankly, a statement, and you look at the actions of the last administration, the Iran nuclear deal, them giving Palestine an equal footing in terms of the amendment that was passed to the UN Security Council on their way out the door, to compare a statement that remembers the Holocaust with the actions of the last 8 years and the disrespect that was shown to Israel is unbelievable. Where were the questions about the UN Security Council resolution that came forward and the idea of this unprecedented step that the outgoing administration took as a massive slap in the face of Israel? Where were the questions then?
Wrote the statement.
No, I didn't.
Sean,
Did I say that? No.
you mentioned that.
I know what I said. I didn't say Jared's name.
It was not.
I'm not. But I'm just saying. No, I'm not getting into who wrote it. But he has several members of the Jewish faith on his senior staff, and to suggest that it was an omission of anything else is kind of ridiculous.
I believe in miracles. Hey, watch out for those melons!
Well, I just want to say that we are, very honored by the victory that we had. 306 electoral college votes. We were not supposed to crack 220. You know that, right? There was no way to 221, but then they said there's no way to 270. And there's tremendous enthusiasm out there. I will say that we are going to have peace in this country. We are going to stop crime in this country. We are going to do everything within our power to stop long simmering racism and every other thing that's going on. A lot of bad things have been taking place over a long period of time. I think one of the reasons I won the election is we have a very, very divided nation, very divided. And hopefully I'll be able to do something about that. And it was something that was very important to me. As far as people, Jewish people, so many friends, a daughter who happens to be here right now, a son-in-law, and 3 beautiful grandchildren. I think that you're going to see a lot different United States of America over the next 3, 4, or 8 years. I think a lot of good things are happening, and you're going to see a lot of love. You're going to see a lot of love.
He points to an image of his daughter, Ivanka, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, now a senior advisor to the president.
Is there any chance Ivanka might have an office right here in the White House?
Well, right now she is just getting settled, moved to Washington. Her husband, Jared, very, very smart, good guy.
We know he'll have a role. He has an office.
He does. And he has an office. We'll have to see what happens. She is a special person.
You're not ruling it out.
Smart, and she's got every quality you can possibly have. I don't rule out anything. No, there's certainly a possibility. And Jared has been here, and he's doing a great job.
And just before we leave, the president tells us he wants to show us just one more image.
One thing this shows is how far over they go here. Look how far this is. This goes all the way down here, all the way down. Nobody sees that. You don't see that in the pictures. But when you look at this tremendous sea of love, I call it a sea of love, it's really something special that all these people traveled here from all parts of the country, maybe the world, but all parts of the country. Hard for them to get here. Many of these people were the forgotten men and women, many of them. And they loved what I had to say. But more importantly, they're going to love the result.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
David.
Thank you.
And finally, if I can respond to something that I know from personal experience. I've known President Trump for many years. And to allude to him or to his people, his team, some of whom I've known for many years too. Can I reveal, Jared, how long we've known you? Well, he was never small. He was always big. He was always tall. But I've known the president and I've known his family and his team for a long time. And there is no greater supporter of the Jewish people and the Jewish state than President Donald Trump. I think we should put that to rest.
Thank you very much. Very nice. I appreciate that very much.